Hello, CB and D&D. Well, you know what? I don't edit these. I'm gonna leave that in. Hello, CB D&D watchers, which is maybe 3 people. I don't know. I want to talk about something while it's fresh on my mind because it's one of those things that really just drives me nuts. Party balance. Party balance not being the amount of players, but how each character is built. If one of your characters at the table used the standard array to make their character, and he's the oldest remaining member of your original group, everyone coming in after him also needs to make a standard array character. Here's why. People that roll the 4d6 system end up with stats that are unbalancing. But at the same time, they power game those stats. Or, I'm not saying they're dishonest about them, but, more often than not, a little above the curve of possibility, people end up with no bad stats or want to take stats that don't make any sense, like a 4 intelligence, which makes you an animal at that point. Most role-playing DMs will agree with me on that. Now, if you're a power gamer, I want to start out by saying, I'm just not the DM for you. I mean, seriously, I don't see D&D as a combat system that has a role-playing game in it. I see it as a role-playing system that has a combat game in it. That's the main focus is minimum 50% of role-playing. Now, that's where we come into this thing. There are a lot of guys that try to make super warriors. I see it all of the damn time. People want to make warriors that are... I'll just use the example tonight. This guy had a 28 AC, okay? And we talked about it the other day, and I was sick. And I was like, I guess that works. And the DM said it was okay. That's cool. That's an important statement, okay? If you're putting anything into your character sheet beyond that point, if you're adding something you think even remotely might be questionable, and you did not talk to your DM, that statement stands. I don't know. If you're playing another guy's game, I mean, as long as you're cool with your DM, whatever. Okay? It's not cool with your DM because you didn't talk to him. You said something to somebody else, you added it, and you want to spring it on your DM. That's not how character building works. It's not how it works, guys. I'm sorry. But let's talk about that. Because when somebody got mad at me about it tonight, I just used, if I was a DM, rational logic, because the DM said, no, you can't have that, quote, you can't have that shit in my game. I'm sorry, but that's too powerful. And really, his character is actually kind of badass without this. Now, I'm going to tell you what it is, and then we'll go back. Because I'm not picking on the guy, but he blew up at me afterwards. And really upset me because I was trying to help him. The first thing I pointed out wrong with his character was he only had 2 skills and he didn't have a background selected. And I was like, you need to select your background so you can get your remaining 2 skills because you're going to need them. Then I said, you have +1 mithril armor and a +1 mithril shield. I was pretty sure such and such said, that's not cool. And he was like, nah, it's cool. And he's like, I don't see why I can't have it. First off, this guy is the guy that points out to me, this guy that wants this. At level 5, it is 10 times the value of a similar item, a normal similar item. So, full plate is 1,500 gold. He wants a full plate set of armor. That's 15,000 gold. Okay? What? No, at level 5 you can't have, you cannot have a 15,000 gold item. That just, no one paid you that much to do this stuff. I was like, and you're really not focusing on a major flaw your character has. And he says, what's that? And I was like, why would anyone fight you? And he's like, what do you mean? Well, you're behind the curve because you have a +5 to hit. Your damage isn't that high, and you're really hard to hit. So why bother fighting with you when I can just ignore you and kill your friends and then either focus on you or leave? And he got mad about that. But that's a real question, okay? To power gamers that are playing in games, okay? It's not the DM's job to play the way you want him to, or to let you do anything you want. D&D does have a set of guidelines. And it's not people being mean to you. Now, I was angry. I'm not angry now. But like, this bothered me for so long that he yelled at me about me trying to help him, that I decided to just go ahead and record this video, okay? And you know, repercussions be damned. I was trying to be a friend, because I was like, you need to fix these two things. And he got mad and he said, "Oh yeah? How do you make somebody stick to you if you don't do damage?" I'm the wrong person to ask that question. Let me tell you my go-to guy. I always play a druid. And the reason is, the guy at Dawnforge has said this a couple times. I've heard it a couple other times on other videos. I watch a lot of D&D videos, but your stats really don't matter if you're going to be a beast mode cleric, okay? If you're going to go beast mode cleric and you're going to be beast mode tank, then your stats don't matter. The only thing that matters is the animals you can shift into, and whether you used bark skin before you shifted into them or whatever enhancement, okay? And then whether you're a barbarian also, so you get further enhancement. Now, all that being said, okay, I played that guy a lot. And at 4th level, instead of taking a stat increase, I take Sentinel. Even if I do not do any significant damage to you at all. With Sentinel, if I hit you, and I have a high chance of hitting you, if I hit you, you don't get to move away from me. You try to make a move away from me, I get my opportunity attack. If it's successful, doesn't matter how much damage I do to you, you are glued to the floor. I force you to fight just me. And clerics are druids are phenomenal for this, because I can heal in this animal form by burning spell slots. And then when I get knocked out of this animal form, I just take the overage to my personal hit points and then shift as a free action back into another version of this animal, getting full hit points again. So I have really worn this system out, really burned it out, okay? I know it very well, and he wants to make a tank. I say, he took alertness so that he couldn't get advantage against him, and then I explained how it worked a little bit better, and then I realized he wasn't trying to do any game breaking with it. He just didn't want all those surprise attacks and things like that DMs like to throw at him. And I understand that. That's actually a really good build. But you take alertness at level 4, and you have 28 AC, and you hit for a D8 plus your like 1 or 2 strength. At 5th level, a lot of shit's just gonna ignore you and go kill your magic user friend and your improved ranger friend, if you have Xanathar's Guide to Everything, or your rogue. They're gonna go after the people that are damaging them, and there's nothing making that thing stop and fight you. And I roleplay that feat. If you want to roleplay alertness, that's fine. You're always aware. You're always, surveying the scene as covertly and low as possible. Like there are guys that come back from overseas with post-traumatic stress, whatever it's called now. It's not disorder anymore. It's something else. But they have a thing where they won't sit with their back to a door. And there are a lot of really cautious people. People from prison have the same thing. They won't sit with their back to a door. You start role-playing that as a character, right? That you were just super vigilant about making sure you are always aware. That's a kick-ass start, man. That's a good character. I can't in good conscience let you have a 28 AC, and the other DM said no also. But holy shit, this character is smooth. You are so close to making like a really like pimp ass character that when you get mad about it and you storm off and you yell at me, you don't know. Alright, I'm 10 minutes into this video. Let's talk about that character change. Alright, first, you're going to have to take plate. You're going to have to take a regular shield. And I can actually see an argument for giving you +1 plate and a +1 shield. Now, you don't get your dex bonus to this equipment, okay? You do not get your dex bonus. So fuck your dex, alright? Forget it. You don't need it. What you need is strength and con, okay? So if you don't want to go con and you want to be the guy that's like, I'm hard to hit and I hit real hard, because as a paladin, you've got lay on hands. You have a reset button. At level 5, you've got a really big reset button. So taking your strength and then your con next in a standard array, or with your rolled stats, which were pretty good, you know, like when I saw his stats, I'm not going to get into his stats, but he had the opportunity to focus on strength, on con, and then pick a third really high value skill, which I would have picked wisdom, because again, he's super vigilant all the time. He's always got his head on a swivel, you know. Now your character has a badass service purpose, okay? First off, ignoring him in battle hurts. Second, he's hard to hit, but not impossible, which makes the DM continue to take shots at him because he can't ignore him. Framing that for you. Thirdly, you being a paladin gives you such an advantage to things like insight and charisma rolls that you could go that way and just be fucking Sherlock Holmes. Just be a human lie detector if you want. Forget Sherlock Holmes. There are so many really cool role-playing things you could do with this. And you're a Warforged, right? Not going to get into the specifics, but you stand out. And you know it, which is one of the reasons that you're vigilant. Your story tells really well. But no, it's not a power gamer. It's just a regular gamer character that could be phenomenal. But I tried to help, and I got yelled at. So, let me describe how this character would end up, in my opinion. I would continue to focus this character's martial ability. I probably would not take the shield in favor of using the longsword two-handed. Very important. If at 5th level I got to pick one magic item, I might not take +1 full plate armor. I'd probably ask for a Dawnblade. And then the fact that I do a lot of damage, and I make sunlight, makes a difference in a lot of games. For instance, if you're playing the Horde of the Dragon Queen, okay, kobolds are light sensitive. You turn on your lightsaber, and everything within, I think, 30 feet of you has to roll disadvantage if they're a kobold. That's pretty beast. And you already have high AC because you're wearing full plate. And they can't ignore you because you hit real hard. And you got a reset button. This character could have been amazing. The other direction I thought about when I was looking at him with the alert was the churches used to have these guys that were inquisitors. They'd go out and they were horrible human beings. But the idea of the inquisitor, right, as a paladin class, you could actually like really gear your guy to be super. Notice things. I would probably take 1 level of rogue just to get the expertise on insight and perception. Okay, and he's already getting a buff to perception from his alertness. So, what happens in this dynamic? Well, now he has a tendency to know when people are lying. He has a tendency to spot things before other people do. So, he has a lightsaber, and he's in full play. He can defend himself very well. All of a sudden, this character is amazing. And honestly, what occurs to me is, if I don't know if this is an anime reference, so you'll forgive me, but I really did like this anime after my buddy got me into it. Was Full Metal Alchemist. And one of the things is I used to always think of all the things you could do with this animated armor, right? And how awesome it was. And this animated armor is a main character in this thing. But at that point, technically, this is what that Warforged looks like. And he just looks like a guy wandering around in armor. And so he doesn't stand out. What does stand out about him is super observant. He notices when people are lying. He knows how to follow a trail to find out answers. And literally, the 4 skills he has to have at that point are: you need insight, perception. I mean, you have to definitely take insight and perception. Okay, religion. And then the last one, you take survival. Now, the reason you do that, survival is sometimes used for making checks to follow people. So you could say, hey, I'd like to follow this guy. I'd like to roll survival for that, or perception, which is way higher. Now you have got a church inquisitor. So good. So good. Not even underpowered. Like, just game-breaking and role-playing opportunities, right? And you can't be surprise attacked, which means they have to make, like, if somebody surprises the entire party, okay, they all have to. Everybody has to make initiative rolls, but the people that get to go are the guys that got the drop on you, and your Inquisitor Paladin with a lightsaber that he uses two-handed. There are so many awesome role-playing options that I would have asked for beyond, I want to be impossible to hit. Well, then why would things try to hit you? Because you don't do very much damage and you don't serve another purpose. So why get rid of you? We'll just ignore you. And that's the idea. That's the idea behind it. I personally felt like what I was trying to do was give this guy a better structure, but he started yelling at me and cut me off, and I was like, look, man, I'm just trying to help. Jim asked me to look at your character because he was in the middle of running this, and he got a little harsh and a little direct with how I defended him, and it wasn't ugly, it was just unnecessary. And at the end of that, I was super mad, but I'm just trying to help him make a character. And sometimes I think that's what being good at being in a D&D game is hearing feedback. Because sometimes you're not going to be able to play a dragon. Sometimes you just get to be a dragonborn. Sometimes you can't be an actual tank. Sometimes you just have to be a paladin. And with that said, that doesn't mean your paladin isn't as good. That doesn't mean that your dragonborn isn't as good as the dragon. The idea is you're crawling up a ladder with an adventure of other people, that you're taking this story and turning it into your own, the end of which you have this amazing character that wasn't just a one-trick pony. He was well-rounded and interesting. And that's all I was doing because the DM had already put his foot down. You can't have +1 mithril armor, man. You just can't. And of any kind. So, just keep that in mind, guys. When you're gaming and a guy's like, hey, you can't do this, you can't do this, but You're missing some skills, and like there are some really good ways to fix this. And you get that bonus stat boost at 4. I used it for a feat. And let's work with that feat. Let's make it do something. All right, well, that's it. 20 minutes in. Gonna wrap it up. Thank you again, as always, for taking the time to hear me rant. I am CB. This is CBD&D. I'll see you probably next week. I'll probably feel like ranty again next week. All right, bye.